Remember the story of David and Goliath? Well, this isn't a slingshot against a giant, but it's close. On one side, you've got Magnus Carlsen, the king of chess, feared and respected by everyone who dares sit across from him. And on the other, a 15-year-old grandmaster who's barely old enough to drive. But don't let the age fool you. This young prodigy wasn't here to play nice. In today's game, Magnus wasn't facing just another challenger. This was round 6 of the 2019 World Blitz Championship. Magnus had already secured 5 wins in the first 5 rounds, which came as no surprise. But his opponent, 15-year-old Nodirbek Abdusattorov from Uzbekistan, shocked everyone by also scoring 5 out of 5, defeating some of the strongest players in the field. Now it was time for his greatest challenge yet, facing Magnus. The fearless teen didn't just hold his own, he pushed Magnus to the brink. The result? An epic high-speed battle that left even the world champion rattled. Magnus began the game with pawn to d4, followed by knight to f3 and bishop to g5. Both players followed standard opening theory until Magnus made the decision to castle queenside. In chess, when players castle on opposite sides, it often signals an aggressive and sharp game, as each side typically launches an attack on the opponent's king. Magnus then pushed his pawn to g4, followed by g5, gaining space on the king side, and then developed his bishop to d3. Nodirbek then began his march toward the white king by moving his knight to b6, bishop to g4, and finally his rook to c8. Magnus responded with pawn to f4, signaling his clear attacking intentions. Now, let's take a moment to analyze this position. White's last move, pawn to f4, creates potential threats with advances to f5 and f6. However, this move also weakens the e3 pawn. But Magnus seems to have a solution by maneuvering his knight to f3 and then to e5, blocking the strong attack from Black's queen and rook along the e-file. On the other hand, Black also has significant threats, primarily by advancing the c-pawn to c5, which would open the c-file for his rook and free the diagonal for his bishop. With the knight ready on b6, anything can happen. Black immediately attacked the e3 pawn by playing his rook to e8. After White responded by moving his rook to e1 to protect the pawn, Nodirbek had a strong opportunity to start his attack with the move c5. However, it seems he misjudged the position and instead sacrificed a pawn by playing his knight to c4, a move that even surprised Magnus. Magnus quickly captured the pawn and followed up by fully controlling the center with the move e4. He then launched his pawn storm with f5. While it seemed that Magnus had taken control of the game and victory was just a matter of time, Nodirbek wasn't ready to throw in the towel. Instead, he continued making solid defensive moves, keeping his 2 rooks in the center and maneuvering his queen around, trying to find a breakthrough. After Magnus played his knight to d3, Nodirbek responded with queen to g4, setting a clever trap. Under time pressure, Magnus incautiously fell into the trap by playing his knight to f4. Feel free to pause the video and try to find the best move for Black. In an incredible turn of events, Nodirbek played the stunning move rook takes a4, sacrificing the rook. The idea behind this move was that Magnus couldn't recapture the rook on e4 because the black queen would then deliver checkmate on d1. Caught off guard by this move, Magnus was visibly disappointed with himself. However, he kept his composure and played rook to f1. With Black's more active pieces and the weak d4 pawn, Black clearly had the upper hand at this point. But with only seconds left on the clock for both players, the game was still in the balance. The players quickly maneuvered their pieces and exchanged several of them, until Black played rook to e4, attacking Magnus's queen. With only a few seconds remaining, Magnus responded with the tricky knight to e7 check, sacrificing the knight. The idea was that if Black captured the knight, Magnus wouldn't just escape with his queen, he would recapture with the pawn, threatening the deadly promotion of the e7 pawn. However, in a brilliant defensive sequence, the young prodigy found the correct response. He started by moving his king to h7, then interposed with his rook on a6, and finally captured the e7 pawn with his rook. When Magnus captured the rook, Nodirbek cleverly captured the rook on d1 and followed up with a check on d5. Realizing that he couldn't escape the perpetual checks with his king, Magnus shook hands with Nodirbek, agreeing to a draw.